call our actually multimedia center. The design of this was to include our computer lab, our library, and our learning lab.
Okay, so if you want a true one about pigs, what you do is write down that comment.
Credentialed librarian. She's here 4 days a week. All classes have a library period in which they are read stories and taught library skills and research skills with the older students. Yeah, this is a 5th grade math class.
Can you tell me what you and your partner came up with and we can brainstorm on the board?
All teachers in Orinda are fully qualified. All have their own classrooms.
All that you see in this area is an actual preserve that is owned by the district.
This elementary school in Orinda has a nature center, complete with a full-time botanist with a master's degree.
When they're native, does that mean that they're from there or were they brought over?
Well, native means that you could go back 1,000 years and that plant would have been here.
The same school funding rules that cause havoc elsewhere apply in Orinda, and yet the range of resources here is striking and goes on and on. Every school in Orinda has an extensive music program, from elementary school through high school. Schools in Orinda have sports teams with coaches and uniforms, including a water polo team.
190 and it weighs 6.8. We're nearly there. We're nearly beating the other kids.
Orinda's schools may look wealthy, but by law they get the same state funding as everyone else, just over $6,000 per student. So why does this district have so much more?
Yeah, what time do you have to be at the concert tonight?
Like
for
7
you?
o'clock.
7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's parents like Paula Goodwin who make the difference in Orinda. She works full-time as a lawyer, but for many hours a day, she has a second job.
When you do the packet, then we're putting the packets together.
Raising private money for Orinda's public schools.
Essentially, what does the state give us? The state gives us a box with a teacher in it and like 35 students. And if we want anything else in that box, we have to, work to get it. I'm Paula Goodwin, and I'm the president of EFO, and I want to welcome you tonight to our 3rd night of phoning. The Parents Club tends to do more indirect funding, more event-based funding. The Educational Foundation of Orinda does more the direct solicitation. Our goal this year is $985,000, and we're asking tonight for a suggested donation from each family per student of $400, but whatever they can give is appreciated.
Hi, Mr. Fair. My name's Nancy Horseman, and I'm a Delray parent. May I ask how much would you like me to write down? $1,200. That's great. Thank you so much.
Private foundations like Orinda's began springing up in the early 1980s. Like so much else in the story of California's school crisis, they trace back to a familiar source, Proposition 13.
The districts had really no ability to tax anymore because the Proposition 13 put a ceiling on them. So they began to look around for their options, and the districts that got cut the most were the high-spending districts with wealthy parents who could make private contributions. So first we had 15 foundations, and then we had local school foundations, and then we had 100 local school foundations. And within 3 to 5 years, we were over 300. Now we have the largest number of school foundations in the country.
Today, there are more than 400 foundations spread out among California's 1,000 school districts. Here in Orinda, private fundraising takes many forms. Everything sold at this annual Christmas market was made by parents and community members.
Thank you.
I want to announce that for the first time, through your contributions, we have passed the $1 million mark. Through your dollars, we are able to fund
really the entire music program, K through 8.
It's not the PTA of our mother's generation, where it was just raising, bake sales. This is a whole new era where we're having to be more professional about how we're raising our funds. We're having to have business plans, we're having to incorporate ourselves, and it's just a whole new era.
Oh, that's a nice ride.
Orinda parents raise about $2 million a year for the district's 5 schools. That's nearly $1,000 extra per student.
What does the Forced Plate Tectonics bill? Who knows? Can you
Private fundraising pays for staff positions that other districts cut long ago.
What noise is this? Give me my long sword. Oh!
Private fundraising also outfitted this new 500-seat theater.
The fearful passage of their death-marked love and the continuance of their parents' rage.
What you're standing in here is the craft area. Behind you is the great room area where...
And foundation money paid for a new daycare center.
In here, there's going to be 5 computers ultimately.
Is there some unfairness here if one district, one school has its